My daughter excluded me from a college tour, so I'm thinking of excluding her from something too.
Like her tuition?
Or maybe the will? Okay, I'll try to make a long story short, but it may take a bit, so buckle up.
Just keep it long, it's fine.
I, 38 female, found out when I was 19 that I was going to have a surprise blessing with my boyfriend. We decided to do the right thing and got married about 4 months before I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. 18 months later, I gave birth to another gorgeous baby girl, and my husband and I finally learned how to use contraceptives. Sarcasm. By the way, this comes from user dependent25059 on the r/okstorytime subreddit.
What's that? Contraceptives.
Contraceptives?
Yeah.
I don't know. What is it?
Never heard that word before.
They're little willy jackets.
What's that?
Oh, buddy. After this, I'm going to have the talk. I'm going to talk to you about the birds and the bees.
Oh, what?
When the girls were about 5/7 years old, their father and I separated and got a divorce. It was not a very pretty split. We are on better, friendlier terms now. What made me feel the worst about it is that I couldn't keep our family together for my daughters, and it made me feel guilty ever since. I moved us back to my hometown and lived with my parents until I met my now husband, and we purchased our own home.
Nice.
I moved back to my hometown because I have a lot of family there who have been a great support for me as a single mom, and I had a great childhood growing up there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, my parents, and my sister, my only sibling. So the whole family squad is there in the hometown. My sister has never been married. She is the smart one and has no children of her own. Ever since the girls were born, she has been a great and loving aunt, and I have always encouraged her as a mom-like figure in their lives, even getting her cards, gifts, and celebrating her on Mother's Day. As a single parent moving back home and essentially starting everything in my life all over, I worked a lot. I started working in retail until I was able to get a job with a great company, and I worked my way up to the top level of management, working directly under the owner, making big moves, OP. It has been long hours and even having to do some work at home, like taking calls and sending emails. I have never been a perfect mother. I've missed some things. I was unable to get some things done for them, but I always did what I could to fix it or make it up to them. My daughters were my drive, my motivation to work harder, to be able to give them more, and that they wouldn't want for anything. I started putting money away as soon as I could for their college fund, and I recently took on a second job so I can add more to their accounts. I just don't want my girls to have debt and to be able to study and learn whatever they want and find their career that they're going to be happy with. And they have been my whole world. I signed up to be involved with anything I could, volunteering to help work fundraisers with them, being a substitute coach when they needed one to go to games for volleyball or cheer, taking them to fun events at the library, their school, going to at least one MLB game per year, and seeing at least one family Broadway show in the city around the holidays.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, hey, it sounds like you were really trying to, make some memories with the girls.
That was a great childhood.
To be short, my time was devoted to them, and if it was something I couldn't take my daughters with me or that they would enjoy, I wouldn't go to or do it. Fast forward to more recent times, my now husband and I got our house together in 2021, and we lived there with my daughters until last year when my daughter got a job and took some college credit classes that it made more sense for them to move back in with my parents who are 20 minutes away. I don't see them daily like I used to, but I talk to them daily, I communicate, and try to stay involved with everything. My oldest daughter is 18, and ever since she was about 15, she has had the itch to be independent. I mean, they all do, right?
Yeah.
We all get the itch when we become teenagers and high schoolers. We want that independence. I encouraged both her and her sister to put some fiscal responsibility on what they want, just to help them understand the value of $1 and take care of things they helped purchase. For example, we got them cell phones when they were 10 or 11, but flip phones. And I would not get them smartphones until they could pay for half of it.
Nice.
That's a good
great
lesson.
Parenting.
Very good.
Have to work for stuff? What?
We did the same thing for their first car and other large purchases. My oldest got her first and current job at a pharmacy when she was 2 weeks away from turning 16. Well, that's early.
Dang.
Well, I guess it's not that early, but it's
Well,
towards the beginning of when you'd get employment.
I started working at Sawmill when I was 7 years old.
Yeah. Right.
Half that age.
Don't rat on them. You're breaking labor laws.
No, this was on the weekend to cut firewood.
He said, "No, I volunteered to do all that work."
I started working at the actual sawmill at 16.
Yeah, wink, wink, nod, nod. Yeah. Over the summer, she studied hard and passed her pharmacy tech certification. She is that driven, always having A's on her report card, not accepting anything but the best from herself, etc. I've always questioned myself if I was pushing her to feel like I was expecting perfection from her, but from multiple conversations with her, she assured me that her drive for perfection is just who she is, and not me pushing her to be so. One thing me and my husband, her dad, and even my sister have noticed about my oldest over the past couple of years is that she's developed a tendency to only reach out to us when she wants something.
I did that before
Everybody
I went
does
to
that.
college. Oh, I definitely did that with my parents before I went to college.
Everybody does that when they reach a certain age. The only thing you want to talk to your parents about is like, yeah, that's cool. Can you pay for my gas, please? Can you pay for this? Can you help me with that?
You don't realize how important they are and how much you want a relationship with them until after you leave home.
I mean,
that's when I realized
for the
that.
vast majority of people, I would say yes.
Yeah.
It started after she began dating her boyfriend back when she was 15. And to provide context, I don't feel her boyfriend is the cause of this change exactly. He's always been willing to do anything with our family, always kind and respectful to her and to us. I've come to care about him. I have come to care about him as what I call some of her friends, as one of my part-time kids. Now, I went to a university near where we used to live when her dad and I were married, where he still lives. I have always talked about my alma mater with the girls when we talked about going to college, and if they ever wanted to go look around as they got older, to let me know. We had a junior high track meet there, and after the event was over, I took them around the grounds and buildings and just talked about how great the school was, singing all its praises, etc. I even periodically took the girls with me when they were little to a class because their sitter couldn't watch them. So there is a little sentimental history there for us as well. I also need to add, my sister went to the same university. So there's a little bit of history, a little bit of family history at the university. My oldest daughter is now 18 and a senior. A requirement from her school is she has to do a couple of campus tours during her senior year. Last month, she told me that she's scheduled to do a tour of my alma mater this Friday.
All right.
I got so excited and I told her I would take time off of work to go with her and I would love to look around with her, etc., etc.
Dude, this is such a great chance to bond with your daughter about memories you had, and then, like, it would be so fun to do that.
Yeah, I sure hope the title of the story doesn't get in the way of all that. She then says she's only allowed one person to go with her on the tour, and she asked her boyfriend to go with her.
Boo! Come on.
Just spend some time with mom.
Honestly,
She's hyped about it.
I understand the boyfriend, important person in someone's life. They went there. That's their alma mater.
He didn't even go there.
She's an alumni.
Come on.
You want to go whenever you're touring? Dakota, whenever you're touring, wouldn't you like to know all the ins and outs, not just from the tour, but all the fun stuff, all the secret spots, all the best taco places?
Yes.
Not like, this is dorm room. This is office. This is classroom.
I was a little disappointed at first, but I understood. She's very close to him and it makes sense for him to go if he is also considering going to the school. I asked if I could just be there and hang around campus with them after their tour. She said sure, and I requested the day off. Over this past weekend, I made a comment about how we need to talk about a game plan for this Friday, and she made a comment of, "Mom, you can't be on the tour with me. I mean, you could set up your own tour appointment, but I'm only allowed 2.
You said 1 earlier. I
think she said she's only allowed 2 tours.
What?
Right?
What?
You can set up your own tour
an
appointment.
alumni. Oh, you're an alumni. Great.
Yeah, I feel like this really wouldn't be that big of a deal if she was just like, "Can my mom also come?" They'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure, we don't care."
Yeah.
It's like this is like one of those fake rules that doesn't really exist.
Also, like, going with your boyfriend's kind of lame.
I mean, not if they're like trying to go to the same school.
Yeah, true.
But
then
like,
he can schedule his own appointment.
You might not want to stay with your boyfriend after you realize that there's 7 billion people out there that didn't go to your high school. Like, it's just low key.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it could only be her and her boyfriend. I kept saying that, well, we can just walk around campus after your tour like we did the last time we talked about this trip, but she just seemed so annoyed that I was trying to go. Last night, I was with my mother and sister at our book club when my daughter came by to get my signature on a form from me. I noticed that she had some form and parking passes for my alma mater, and she handed my sister similar forms. My gut was like, Okay, her aunt got a tour set up with the school. Weird that neither one mentioned that to me. But then I realized her aunt was going on the tour with her and her boyfriend.
Allowed two. That's the second.
Oh, so the aunt's going instead of mom? Oh no. The cool aunt took your spot. So I asked her straight up, so that thing you just handed your aunt, is that for going on the tour with you Friday? My daughter tried to make a little joke about it. We do use humor a lot in our family, and basically said, yes. I clearly got aggravated, but I only said in response, I will see you on Friday. I saw red. We all parted ways, and I wanted to cool off before I said anything more about it. When I am mad, I need to cool off before I talk about it, or I get very mean and hurtful. It's something I have been trying to get better at. So I finally sent my daughter a text because I just knew if I talked, I would go off. I told her I was owed an explanation as to why she made me believe I couldn't go on the tour with her and why she thought I wouldn't find out her aunt went with her. Did her aunt even know I wanted to go or about the deceit? She replied that she just wanted to spend time with her aunt, that she initially misunderstood what the tour limits were about how many guests she could have with her. I'm still not sure if that's exactly the truth. And that her aunt explained in conversation with her that she could have 2 other people with her on the tour and she just really wanted her aunt to go. I was just hurt.
So, right here, I remember whenever I was going to college, I was butting heads so hard with my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Like, me and her, that was probably like the worst part of our relationship. There's been like 2 bad parts with my mom and I's relationship. That one was like one of the bad ones.
Well, like you wanted to go somewhere else and she...
No, we agreed on that, but just like going up, I was ready to leave the house and we were just butting heads with everything. Also, clocking the humor thing, I think that OP, like, she'll probably like say something in a humor like, clean your room. Oh, clean your dirty room, you rascal, but like in a mean way. And she did say that she gets mean at times when like it's a part of conversation. So I think that OP, that your child here is just kind of like ready to leave, and she just sees you as like, I don't want to be around her. I'm ready to leave. This is just annoying, because that's how I felt. And I have seen families where like they use humor to like kind of get at one another.
Yeah.
Dude, it gets so toxic so quick because there's no humor in it. It's just like in a laughing manner, but it's just like a jab.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, okay, so how am I supposed to feel about that?
I think OP, I'm sorry if this like is harsh, and I probably don't know you. There might be some layers you need to figure out with your communication skills, because it seems like your daughter is not really receiving that, and that's why there's a disconnect between you two.
Very nice, very deep.
Thank you.
Her aunt and I work at the same company, and I got a little curious. I looked at when I requested Friday off versus when her aunt requested it off. I requested it off immediately after my daughter and I talked about the tour on October 25th. My sister requested it off November 12th. I pointed that out to my daughter. She again explained her misunderstanding of the guest limit, and she wanted her aunt to go. I asked her why she didn't tell me anything about it, though. I've always been approachable, and they know they can talk to me about anything, and they have. Low key, though, well, maybe this is just how you're getting about this one context of like the college trip. But I feel like if this is like how meticulous you're kind of looking into this situation, that might cue us into as to why she didn't want you to go.
Because like, let's look at other situations. How did you handle those? And how did your daughter feel after you handled them that way?
And it really could be just as simple as like, we're wrong about both of those things, and it's just an 18-year-old who wants to feel independent and would feel like going on a college tour with my mom would not make me feel very independent. So it could just be that. It really could just be her being 18. They told me the first time that they tried booze or experimented with substances, and I never once even got upset or even punished them. My stance and my daughters have always known this. Teenagers are going to feel tempted to try that stuff no matter what I say or do, and I taught them what would happen if they try that stuff, but I want them to always come to me if they are in a situation of being too wasted to drive or not having a sober driver available or whatever it might be, and I would never get upset with them. I would rather know and be involved and and encourage them to contact me instead of making bad decisions in order to avoid getting into trouble. And it's worked really well. They've told me about every time they were ever offered or tried something, and I would ask some questions. We would talk about it, and they came to the conclusions on their own to avoid doing that stuff again because of how they felt afterwards. I feel like hangovers are the best teachers of why it's a bad idea to get wasted. So, it just perplexed me that she didn't feel like talking to me about this whole mess. I felt so cut out of her life since then. She knew that I really wanted to go, but she didn't feel that she could talk to me about what she wanted. Especially how her whole life I've worked, I've given and tried to be there for her and her sister. I told her that she is not going to cancel on her boyfriend or her aunt for this tour because it is what it is and I don't want her disappointing them. But it'll never disappoint us when you join us when we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Just tap our profile.
Tippity tap tap.
We're probably live right now. You might want to go check. Anyway, so, I mean, where are we at?
OP
I think
feels betrayed.
OP's got feelings, and sometimes feelings are messy. It's like, this is your alma mater. A lot of stuff is mixed up about it, about how you feel about it. I don't think your daughter really fully understands how important this clearly was to you.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, oh, my mom's just being a dork about, you know, like the alma mater. But it's like, it really sounds like it was kind of a super meaningful thing to you. I don't think she ever understood.
I don't think she will until after she's out to college to understand that. Because when you're that close to your family, you were striving, you were begging for that independence.
Yeah, I mean, from everything that was described about the daughter, like the oldest daughter, how she was, you know, she's been wanting to feel that independence for like 3 years. She started dating her boyfriend, which, you know, that'll do it to you. But a part of me thinks even if she did know how important this was to OP, she probably still wouldn't have wanted her to go.
No, it's that independence, bro.
She wants to taste that sweet, juicy independence.
Dude, I remember the first night I got to college, I went to cookout, and I was like, I don't need to tell anyone when I need to get it back. This is amazing. I love this.
Freedom!
I can do whatever I want now.
Amazing. All right, well, let's see how this ends. My frustrated and hurt nature wants to go do something she wanted to do with me without her. Oh, don't get petty, Mom.
Come on.
Don't get petty. Go to the local Christmas market with my husband and her sister without her. Or do some holiday shopping with the ladies of the family, but without her. Just paint a picture of what cutting me out of her life is really like.
Okay.
But I am her mom. I want to be there for her. I will always be here for her, and I don't want her to ever feel like I'm not here for her. But would I be the a-hole if I did one of those things without her, just to put it bluntly, to show her how it feels? Yeah, you would be the a-hole, because that's not putting it bluntly. That's putting it, like, you know, discreetly by excluding her from a family event and using that as a pretext to, what, teach her a lesson?
Yeah.
That you're not actually explicitly teaching her. I don't even think, you just want to be petty, I can tell.
Yeah. I think
you're not putting,
just
to
seems
put
like
it bluntly.
you're spiraling. Just take a moment, take a breath, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, your daughter's growing up. You got to reckon with it.
Yep.
It sucks, but hey, maybe you can have this experience with your younger daughter.
Yeah.
And I mean,
honestly,
at some point, you're going to spend time with her on campus. It doesn't have to be during the tour.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to see her at some point.
Maybe. I don't know.
Give her some time. She'll probably start missing it.
Daughter might go low contact if this isn't like, I think there's an issue between you and your daughter's communication.
Yeah.
And I would go to therapy to figure that out.
Yeah.
Is that the end?
That is the end of that story.